Hello, guys. Hello. Oof, that's maybe a little bit loud. Hey, what is going on, everyone? Today you're seeing a little bit different view from my typical building live stream because we're going to be doing a Gunpla critique video here today. This is our 5th episode, and we shouldn't have any of the troubles that we had in the last episode. Last episode was a little bit tricky to get it started because there were some technical issues. I found out what the problem was just to let you guys know. If you guys watched the last episode, what I was having trouble with was that, like, here in OBS, it was not able to get, like, the photos. I was not able to share the window of my photos that I wanted to share to show you guys. And what the problem was that I hadn't granted the right permission to OBS to be able to share that stuff. So, oh well. Anyway, I got it sorted out, and now it should work just fine. So we've got just a couple of stuff. Let's see, just a couple of things here to look at in today's episode. Let me see what's going on with you guys in the chat. Let's see, we got Jacob, Jun, Nim, Kabir, Mike, Kinch, Dan. How are you guys all doing? Let's see. How's it going? All right. And another Zach there as well. And another Itazaku. We got all the Zakus in here today. All right. So let's see here. Let's just move that. Oh, hang on. Let me get this other. Get everything kind of cleaned up on my screen here so we can get everything smooth. Let's not go to that one, or let's go to this one, but let's add this here. Alright. Window capture. There you go. Photos. Here we go. Alright. There we go. To go, right? Yes. Okay. So we got some works here. Or the first work we're going to be taking a look at here is from Chaka. So I don't know if these guys are here in the chat. I think I hadn't seen if he's here in the chat. I should maybe let them know. Yeah. Sorry. Should let them know maybe over on here. There we go. No. Okay. Where did that go? That's strange. Suddenly that went away. Speaking of the Marcosius, cancel. Speaking of the Marcosius Gundam, I don't know if you guys heard. I think I mentioned in like the last streaming. Hey Greg, I can see Greg's there in the chat. Greg, we'll take a look at Greg's work next after this. But yes, I think yes, Chaka may be sleeping. But yeah, speaking of just the Marcosius, I think I mentioned this in a previous stream that I was not planning on getting it, but then I changed my mind after seeing what some builders were doing with it over on Twitter. So actually, it just arrived today. Just this morning, I got my delivery. So I got the HD Origin Gundam, and the Marcosius just came in today, as well as the next Petit Ritz kits, the Saber Okita kit, and also a new 30-minute missions kit. So we'll take a look at all that stuff soon enough. But let's take a look here at Chaka's. Even suddenly drawing a blank on what's the name of this kit even. Suddenly can't remember. That thing, yeah. Help me out there. What was it? I totally forget even the name of this stupid kit. From G-Recca. What was it? The Jahannam. Yeah, there we go. That's what it is. The Space Jahannam. Right. Okay. Sorry. Yes. The Space Jahannam. This was one of the very first kits that I reviewed. Way... was it like 5 years ago? Something like that. More than 5 years ago. But 5.5 years ago. Basically at this point. So, yeah, I reviewed this kit a long time ago. And what I remember of this kit was that it is not good. So we'll go down here and take a look at this comparison image here. So like here's his picture of just the stock kit, how that looked. And let's zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it a little better. Of how just the kit looked just straight out of the box. Sorry. There we go. And yeah, just the stock kit, I mean, it's a really shame, and this is the case with a lot of the Reconquista and G kits, unfortunately, is that the designs are cool. It's just that the kit is not very good. Just like the articulation is horrible, the seam lines are all over the place. It's like a really nicely designed 80s kit. So, if that sort of makes sense, sort of analogy, but he really dressed it up really nicely. So his work, first of all, just the painting work is really nice. So the nice shading there with the green is a really nice color with that. The metallic bits, I think, is a nice touch because it's not too much, just a little bit of that kind of dark gunmetal or dark iron kind of color added on just a couple little bits. So just the color choices and the painting, everything is really, really nice. And the decals are really cool. The decals here on the front of the shins, I'm not sure I'm totally sold on because I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just not quite sure about that. I think it does look cool, but just from a sensical point of view, I'm not sure like what the sense of having a decal like that in that particular area is. But you know, it's sci-fi and kind of anything goes. There's not really any reasonable way to say that that actually does make sense or not. So it's just kind of up to your own preference. So I think it looks alright. But also, I think you'll see in some of these other photos here, I think just in terms of the decals in general, I think he was going for, I don't know if this was necessarily intentional or not, but whether it's what he was going for or just what ended up coming out of the project, but it definitely has the MSV style of decals. So like the decals are very much like the MSV, like real type Zaku style kind of decals, kind of markings that you would see on a kit like that. So in that sense, those type of kits, the decals on them are a little bit kind of nonsensical. So they're just kind of there for the design, I think, right? So in that sense, I think the decals work fine. But yeah, so, and then I like the yellow markings. They're just not markings, but I think that's just masked and painted, I would say. On the side skirts, just a little bit on the side skirts, and then here on the shield as well. Let's see, here's a good picture of the back, but there's a good picture of the shield. Let's see, maybe that's the best one. Or just kind of here you can see the shield a little bit better as well. So yeah, the markings are looking really nice. The decals, I like that. The color of the decals, all good. One thing though about the decals, in a couple of the pictures you can see that there's a little bit, like here on the backpack, right in the center of the backpack there, you can see the decal film. So I'm not sure exactly what the reason for that might be. Was that maybe he put that decal on after the top coat? Or I'm not sure. It's kind of weird. If you're top coating over the top of the decals, then you shouldn't necessarily see the shine of the decal like that. And I noticed in a couple of photos, there's a couple, like on the shoulders too, a little bit, just right next to the backpack. You can see a little bit of like the shine of the decal there. So in a couple of photos, that shine around the edge of the decal is a little bit, I mean, not distracting, but you can see it. And you shouldn't necessarily be able to see that. So I'm not sure exactly what happened with that. But, you know, aside from that little bit, because it doesn't look like the decal's silvered. It doesn't look like that as far as I can tell. Silvering is a different thing. It doesn't quite look like anything's silvered. It just looks like that maybe a couple of them, yeah, had some weird reaction with the top coat or something. I'm not sure. And the other thing is that it looks like they did not remove a couple of the seam lines. So like here on the back of the leg, for example, you can see the seam line there going down the back of the leg. And again, to some degree, I understand that these kits are just seam lines all over the place. So getting rid of the seam lines on these kits is a big pain in the ass. That's for sure. So something like that on the back of the leg, not that big a deal. Maybe especially because it's on the back. There is a seam on the front, but you'll notice here on the front of the leg, it kind of goes down the side, so it's like meant to look sort of like a armor panel line there, sort of like on the side of the shin, not necessarily like a seam line straight down the center. But overall, it's really cool. I want to take, is there a photo that has a good look at the face? Maybe that's about as close as it gets, it looks like. This photo. But yeah, the head looks cool as well. On one of these, I could see that there's a seam line on the head as well, but I don't remember the kit well enough to know if that was like a panel line going across the top of the head or if it was a seam line. It looks fine, I think. It doesn't look too bad. I probably would have sanded that out. Just got rid of that seam line on the head. But I think otherwise that one doesn't look too bad. There was also, I think you could see a little bit of a seam line on the axe as well here, maybe. It's kind of hard to tell as well, but anyway. Otherwise, I think it looks great. I mean, he did a really much better job. I mean, even just, you know, even if he left all the seam lines and didn't get rid of any of them, it looks so much better than the original kit, just with the nice paint job on it. So the painting and just the decal layout and everything, I think it's done. It's really well. It's really nice. So I wonder if those decals are from, at least some of them, are probably from a real type decal set, I would assume. So very cool. Alright. Yeah, otherwise, not too much I think we can say about that. Very nice build there from Chaka. So, I think he said that he had some other work to share, but he hadn't sent it yet. So, I don't know if, let me check my email, if he's sent anything else yet. Yeah, I think he's not up at the moment. I think it's nighttime where he is. I think Chaka's in Germany, if I remember correctly. So, he might not be able to send that. So we'll have to maybe take a look at some more of his works next time. In the meantime, we can move on to taking a look at Greg's work here. Oh, not that. Let's see. Alright. Hang on. Get this set. Okay. Here we are. There we go. So we can go ahead and get rid of that too. Okay. Window capture. Okay, so Greg. Oh, Greg. Greg built a Gelgoog, a master grade Gelgoog. There is the high grade version of this now, fortunately, but still no master grade, unfortunately. So what he did was scratch build parts for the shoulders, and some parts for the backpack as well. And he did mention in his email, and Greg's here watching live, so he can chime in with his input as well. But let's see. Yeah, so he did some scratch building on it, and he mentioned to me that it was his first time doing some like kind of big parts scratch building. So first of all, just I think it was good on him for being ambitious and wanting to scratch build the shoulders for this kit, because I'm also a big Gelgoog fan. I love the Gelgoog design, but I hadn't thought to be ambitious enough to just scratch build the parts myself. I suppose if I didn't have anything else to do, I might try to take it on, but it was just something I didn't really think to do myself, so good on him for going ahead and doing that. So I think there is a work in progress photo he had here. We'll take a look at this. So I helped him a little bit just with taking some sample photos to kind of help to get the measurements for that, but he basically did most of it just by, I would assume, just referring to different images and things like that, just to get the size, like the general size and shape down for the big shoulder parts. That's like the biggest thing you have to build to make a Gelgoog. The only other modifications is just the backpack and also the armaments on the sides of the arms, which he didn't make, but again, I can't fault him too much for that. But that is typically one other element of the Gelgoog that sets it apart from a standard Gelgoog. I suppose should I show you guys a sample or not? What do you think? Hi, y'all. Are all you guys familiar with the Gelgoog? I know it's not very like. I think. Well, how much screen time did it ever have in Zeta? I don't think not that much. And in Unicorn, it was on screen for like 3 seconds before immediately getting blown away. So anyway, my point is I don't know if it's a design that a lot of people are super familiar with. So I don't know if it'd be helpful to show an image of what it's supposed to look like, or like what like the actual artwork looks like from Sunrise. But anyway, show the sample. Okay, Greg says show the sample. Okay, I'll just pull up a sample image here then, just so everyone knows. Let me just get this here then. I'll just capture this window. This one. Okay, here you go. So just so you guys have it for reference, here's what the Gelgoog typically looks like. And yes, there's a couple different like variants, as you can see here. But it typically has this these different parts on the side of the arm. It's a little bit different there. So here's the HG Unicorn version of that. Also a different rifle. He used a different Kotobukiya. We'll look back at that in a moment here. A different Kotobukiya weapon set. But there you go. The Unicorn version. And my review. I did review the kit, if you want to check that out. But here's someone else's scratch build master grade. But anyway, so yes, that is what the Gelgoog typically looks like. But let's take a look at Greg's here. So first of all, just a custom color scheme, which I think does work pretty good. The blue, I'm not sure and Greg will have to remind me there in the chat. Greg, are you using an airbrush or spray cans? I don't remember offhand which Greg is using. But I would say just the blue. It's kind of hard to tell if the white is glossy or not, just based on the photos. But the gloss of the blue, if the white is not glossy, I think the contrast doesn't really necessarily work for me. If it's all glossy, then I think maybe it will look better, but it's hard to tell with the white. It doesn't look like the white is glossy. Airbrush, he said, okay. So I'm wondering what color, Greg, you used for the blue. Because, yeah, I'm really not sure. I mean, I can, the tan was spray can. Okay. So it's not white, actually, it's tan. That's, oh, okay. I figured that just the photo was just yellow just because it's a phone, it's just taken with a phone, and just like the phone's auto color correct just made the white look too yellow, but it's aircraft tan. Okay, so it's a really light tan color, not white, actually. Okay. So let's see. Let's just see if we can. Give me a moment here. It's Tamiya Royal Blue. Okay, for the blue. I just want to go here and see if we can adjust the color a little bit here on my end. That's not looking like it's doing a whole lot. Yeah, here we go. It looks a little bit better. Okay. So you guys are seeing that now too. I just adjusted the photo temperature a little bit down so that it took away some of the yellow of the photo there. I hate the way that phones auto correct a color like that. The color balancing on phones, especially for this type of photo indoors, is just bad. But anyway, yeah. So the color, like the color layout, I think is good. The blue, a little bit too dark blue for me. I think to go with that really light tan color, I think a lighter blue, I think would have been a really nice matchup with that. But the blue, yeah. I mean, it's a nice layout. The blue and tan, I think, are good color choices. I would have just gone a little bit lighter with the blue. And then the black for the feet, I like. I'm always a fan of using like super dark gray, like close to black for the feet. If you look at my builds, I very often do that. And also, he used that emblem there on the shoulder, and we talked about this in the last episode with Brian's build. Brian's build of the Marasai, and I talked about using those Xeon emblem like HD option parts on kits, and how I'm typically not a fan of them because I just think they just look kind of odd on a lot of kits. And where Brian had it in his build last episode on like the shoulder of the Marasai, and it was like just barely fitting on there. But in this case, he's got it on the shoulder here where you have this huge open space. And this is one of the cases where I think using one of those emblem marking parts, I think makes a lot more sense, is where you're putting it on a big wide open space so that it doesn't look like it's like crammed into that space. And also because of the color scheme and just like the type of unit, how it's obviously not a typical sort of Gelgoog, it definitely looks a little bit more like it's like an ace unit or like a specialized unit. So in that case, having a big like specialized emblem marking on it makes a little bit more sense too, I think. So where I was talking again last time, I was talking about how it just doesn't seem sensical that they would put that sort of, because again, if you're thinking about it like in reality, that's like this massive big like emblem thing that's probably, just based on relative to the size of the Gelgoog, that's probably like a 3 meter tall, like big, massive thing that they're just attaching onto the mobile suit when it really doesn't serve any purpose. Like obviously, like a spray-on marking, which would be what we would make with a decal, would make sense because that's just a spray painted on with stencil or whatever that they would do for a gigantic mobile suit marking. But an actual physical big huge metal engraved piece that they're attaching onto there seems pretty nonsensical unless it's like a decorative piece, something like for a specialized ace unit, something like that. So the suit does, I think, fit that look, so I think it's a pretty good fit on there. In this case it works, but the general modification, I think it's not the scratch building of the whole shoulder unit thing. It's not the cleanest. There's some rough bits here and there that you can see. But again, he said it was his first time doing some major scratch building like this, so not gonna fault him too much for that. So like here at like around the tip there, you can see there's a rough spot where you had just kind of little ding there out of the edge where it's not totally sanded, cleaned up there. You got a little bit of a bow here in the plot plate that you use for the side of that. It's not like perfectly straight, so just some of the modifications, some of the stuff there. And like here on the side, on the shoulder closest to me, I guess like right over there next to like the 3 lines there, there's a little bit again where you can see it's not totally sanded in, so I think just a little bit more time spent puttying and sanding that just to get it just to make it just perfect, I think would have looked nicer. Taking an extra couple days just to work on that, just to clean it up really nicely, I think would have made it look better. Of course, always spending more time on something is always a good way to make it look better, of course. And then the backpack as well. The backpack, I think it works as just a simple representation of the Gelgoog backpack. It's certainly not quote-unquote accurate to how the Gelgoog's backpack is supposed to look, but it's simple, it's fine. I think spending this one as well, I think spending a little bit more time on that certainly could have helped, but again, for just a first attempt at doing some sort of scratch building, just working out the basic shapes of it and just getting it so that you've got some detail on there in just like the parts that he's added on, and adding the fuel tanks onto there is just I think it's a totally fine attempt for your first time scratch building something like that. So it's something to learn from. And I like the Neozeon logo marking there on the back of the leg too. It's a pretty good fit. For like a big marking like that, it's kind of hard to find a good placement for those, but that placement does look pretty good. The decals in general overall are pretty minimal. You'll see there's not a ton of them. There's just kind of a couple around here and there. You see like the big ones that are really noticeable, like on the front of the legs. Those, sorry. I'm trying to move the right things around. There we go. The big red markings down there on the front of the legs are really noticeable, and there's a couple other little markings like on the shoulders. Just small little waterside decals around here and there. Not a ton of them, but so they all work pretty well. They work fine. Yes, and yes. There's something else I was gonna say about that too. Now I'm suddenly forgetting, but yeah, like the cutting out of the parts there on the back of the shoulder, again, it's just not that clean, but again, just like I said, I think taking a little bit more time just to clean up some of those details, and it would have been very good. But yeah, I think it was a really good attempt for trying something like this for the first time, especially on a master grade. I think a lot of people, when you want to like take a stab at doing some scratch building and like some modification like this, most people probably would have just done this on a high grade, but maybe Greg just didn't have a high grade on hand and thought, well, I've got the master grade, so I'll just work on that. But whatever the case, good on you for taking on a master grade like that. Just rebuilding the backpack, rebuilding the shoulder parts. Yeah, very nice. So I think a little bit of tweaking to the colors and a little bit more refinement on the scratch build parts is all that I would have changed or would have really done differently. For me personally, I probably would have used some more decals. Like I said, he went pretty light on the decals, but that's just a personal thing. If it was me, I would have used some more, but it doesn't really matter to make the kit any better or worse. It's just a personal preference. So, all right, thank you, Greg. Greg had been sharing his photos of that in our Discord, so I've seen that a bit already. But it's a cool build. I love the Gelgoog, so I always like to see that. Alright, then let's see. And the third one and the last one for today, just the three we're going to take a look at here for today. The third one here is from Brian, and Brian's been working on something very unique. So we'll take a look at this. Let me see here. Let's get the photos open here for you guys. Brian's been working on, what's the name of this? Sorry, I keep getting emergency alerts here. The Breagle, if I remember correctly, that's the name of this. Yes, the Breagle. It's a resin mecha kit that's made by Calamity, if I remember correctly. Is that correct? So yes, there's some work in progress photos. We'll just skip ahead for the moment to this near completed photo. So the build, as he said, is not quite done yet. I think he said he needs to do a little bit of oil rendering on it and something else he said he still wanted to do with this. So it's not quite done yet. But here you can see just kind of a general look of what the kit looks like, and next in a size comparison next to a master grade Dom. It's a huge kit. So the Dom's pretty big master grade, and so it's, this is a pretty large kit. I'm not sure exactly the scale of it because I think it's just a sorry. It's just like a original creation, so I'm not sure what is technically supposed to be the scale of this kit. I suppose I could. I could search it. If one of you guys know offhand, let's see. It's 1/35 scale, I think. It looks like. Sorry. For Greg's build, we didn't really talk too much about the gun that Greg has. Sorry, Greg. That was the thing that I forgot to mention. Oh, hey, Brian's here. Okay. Glad you're here, Brian. Then you can answer questions about this because I'm really unfamiliar with it. But yeah. Sorry, we forgot to take a look at the gun that he was using, but that was a Kotobukiya weapon that Greg was using with that. So that also, I think, just without pulling up the photos again, but I liked that choice of weapon with that, Greg. It added to the look of it being like a specialized ace unit, having this long, like sniper rifle, kind of massive rifle type weapon for that. So it's cool. It was a cool custom weapon for that. And Brian is live on his own channel as well. Okay. Well, thank you for hanging out in the chat also as well a bit, Brian, to answer questions as we're taking a look here at your build. So what did you say it was not finished about this quite yet, Brian? You said there's still some oil rendering yet to do on it and something else you said, but in the meantime, we'll take a look here at some of these other work in progress images. So we saw this one here. So you can kind of get a general idea of just like what the parts look like of this in the early stages. I assume this is, just very early on when he's like just getting ready, just like cleaning up and prepping the parts and everything. So you can see this kit has a ton of detail on there, no shortage of detail on it. Even like the little part there for like the kind of head face there just has a ton of little details on it, and like this looks to be sort of like one of the main torso kind of parts there, basically. So yeah, a load of details, and then here getting into some of the assembly of that, and it's pretty massive there. But yeah, that's pretty amazing there. You can see up in the background his Best in Show GBWC winner award there. You guys can't see that. There you go, up in the corner. If you guys didn't know, Brian was the New York winner of GBWC last year. The contentious winner because he used Kotobukiya parts. Oh no! But yes, Brian's GBWC build was great, and this one as well, also looking very cool. So here's another work in progress photos. So you can get a better sense of the scale of it here with this included pilot figure. I'm guessing that's included. Was that included, Brian, or is that something that you're adding to this? I'm not sure actually, but anyway, you can see that 1/35th scale pilot figure there. And yeah, the detail is pretty amazing. I'm not sure how much of the detail did you end up having to clean up on this, Brian? Like, how crisp was that? Did you have to like rescribe some of the lines because the lines were kind of shallow or anything on this? I mean, most of the molded detail looks fine, but I can imagine maybe some of the panel lines maybe were a little shallow, something like that, but or maybe not. But it doesn't look like you necessarily really had a whole lot of cleanup to do on this. It's just basically, some kind of basic cleanup and just a whole bunch of parts to put together, gluing and pinning a whole bunch of parts. Was there a ton of like little parts, or was it mostly all like relatively large parts that you're just pinning together here for this? But and it looks like adding or doing some modification here to this using some joints from a mega size kit. Those are mega size joints, so that's pretty intense to maybe add some articulation to this. So I should also let you guys have a look here at, let's see, the original kit. Let me see, where is it? Where is, looking at some, I'm looking for some sample images. A large mix of sizes, so yeah, a large, big, medium, and small parts included with this. I'm taking a look at the kit over here. Let's see. On Calamity's site, on calamity.com, just for some sample images, just to kind of get an idea of this. And I'll share this here with you guys so you can take a look, because you guys are, a lot of you may also be unfamiliar with this kit as I am. So just in case, we'll take a look at this here. Here, this one. Okay. So this is on Calamity's site here. So it's 1/35th scale, and this would be like a painted sample, but yeah. Where's the photo? Not a very large photo. Here it is. So, just source photo there from Calamity. So yeah. Anyway. Okay. As we were saying, dang. Hearing, just on a side note, the reason my phone's blowing up, I don't know if you guys can hear it vibrate. It's on vibrate, but you guys can probably still hear that maybe. But The reason it keeps blowing up with stuff is because here in Korea we get emergency alerts sent to our phone for stuff related to coronavirus. So every time if there's some sort of like government warning about a new case or something in some certain area, or just like a warning, like for example on Sunday morning we got a bunch of alerts saying like don't go to church, like reminding people not to go to church. But yeah, for some reason I'm getting a ton of alerts blowing up my phone today. Let's see, for Gwangyang, it's related to the city, the next town over, not to my town, but some 14-day case. I'm not sure about that. Won't bother reading all the Korean, but anyway, yes. So, all right, where were we? Taking a look at these photos. And then once you got into the painting and everything, here, well, there's a couple of close-up painted images here as well. This one is really cool. He shared with us in the Discord. Let's see here. He said this decal was from a set of graffiti decals for like train sets. So like decals to use for adding graffiti to like your train dioramas and stuff. So a really cool decal there, the Eat the Rich graffiti decal. So that was a nice snag, Brian, to get a hold of a cool decal like that. But you can see just a close-up look here at some of the detail painting and weathering and everything that he's working on for this. So pretty amazing, and like the chipping, the weathering on this is really nice. It's really nice. I'm going to assume maybe he used some chipping medium on that, but Brian, if you're with us, let us know what you used there for the chipping. It doesn't look like hairspray technique. It looks a little bit finer than what you usually see with hairspray, so I'm guessing maybe it's a chipping medium, but not sure, and hopefully Brian can tell us. But yeah, as usual, Brian's detail painting and weathering is very nice. It's kind of his forte. Looks really good there. I'll take a look. Here's another example. This would be kind of around the front crotch kind of area of that. So some more cool decals, and here you can see up in like the kind of top corner of the picture there, you can see some of that. Oh, it's all hairspray. Oh, okay. So Brian said it is all hairspray chipping. Okay, very nice. You can see some of the camo pattern that he's working on. So I'm assuming that's just masking tape. And Brian, you can let us know if it's anything different. But yeah, it looks like it's just masking tape. Maybe he just was just cutting different shapes with the masking tape and just laying that on there and just going over that, spraying the pattern. Here's a nice close-up image. You can get a look at some of the patterns there. So pretty time-consuming, I would say, to be laying down all of those strips and doing all that pattern painting on the parts there. So it's really cool, and I like that it's not all over on all the parts. It's just on some of the parts, so it's a cool look. And then he's got there's like the yellow, orange, tannish kind of camo pattern, and then on some of the parts has a blue version of that camo pattern. So really nice colors for that. I think it's looking very cool for sure. And I like the pose that he's gone with this as well. As a little bit different from the pose that we saw like the sample build on the Calamity side, having the gun slung up over the shoulder. It's certainly going to make this thing a whole lot taller, so I don't know how this is going to fit. Hopefully yeah, he said all the camo is just custom masked. Yeah, so just cutting out a bunch of strips of masking tape and laying it on there. But Brian, you did that as well, cutting out all the circle dots for doing a circle like dot custom camo pattern that you did on your previous build, right? So Khalid is asking what's hairspray chipping. If you just search on Google or YouTube, just search like Gunpla or just like Plamo or plastic model hairspray chipping technique. There's loads of videos about it online. It's just you use hairspray to uses hairspray and salt to chip the paint like that. Anyway, I personally have never tried it, but yeah, it does look pretty cool. Gives you some pretty cool results. Alright, a couple of detail shots here. The back of the leg. Yeah, you can see all that detail in there. It's pretty crazy. The flea, Brian said, yeah, the flea was all hand cut. Yes. The flea, yes, that was the name of your build. I was confused. I thought that was a typo. It was like an autocorrect typo that you meant to type something else. But yeah, sorry, yes, that was the flea was the name of your build, right? That was Brian's GBWC build. That's what it was. Sorry. Yes, Brian's GBWC build. 7,500 plus circles that he cut out for making the camo pattern on that. That's pretty crazy, man. I love the decals here. It's kind of hard to see in this photo. You can just barely see it. The decals there on like on the spring. What's that? Shock absorbers there. Like just at like the top of the legs, you can see there's like the logo. So you'd see it's just like some like it looks like just a brand logo like printed on the shock absorbers there. So it's a cool detail, like paying attention to like decals in like sensible locations where you would expect to see a decal like that. So okay. No salt, just only hairspray. Okay, according to Mike Rinaldi's style. So yes, I have to try that out. I should try that. I've been meaning to like just basically try out a ton of stuff from Mike's book and just like make a series of videos about like just trying all the different techniques and stuff from Mike's book. I need to get around to trying some of that stuff, but anyway, yes, if you guys are, any of you guys watching are also unfamiliar, I have also done a video, just kind of a short video review of Mike Rinaldi's Sazabi book, but I know Brian uses it a lot too, but it's a great book. If any of you guys are wondering, I'm not sure if we did carry it on USA Gundam Store. I'm not sure if we still have any. If not, you should still be able to get it from Mike Rinaldi's site. Let's see, Rinaldi. I'm not sure. Let me just check here. Yes, it is still available here on USA Gundam Store. So just to show you guys, this is the book that we're talking about. Here we are. The SM03 Custom Sazabi Weathering Book here for only $20 or for only $18 if you use my coupon code there. So yeah, really useful book. A ton of really great information in there. So all, especially about weathering, about painting, weathering, and all that kind of stuff. So very cool. Mike was supposed to be working on some more books about Gunpla and sci-fi modeling, but I haven't seen any progress from him on those, so I'm kind of sad about that. I was looking forward to more of his books on the subject, but hopefully that's coming still in the future. Brian said he owns a couple. Yeah, I only have the Sazabi book, but it would be cool to check out one of the other ones as well. Anyway, and then here's just a look at, this is maybe just like a final assembly minus a couple of pieces. Looks like he's got a couple of pieces there towards the back, or like behind the kit there that are not attached on. Maybe some of the little pieces that maybe needed to be glued on later or something, but maybe this is just kind of the final, checking the final assembly of like the pose and everything of the kit. So very cool. It's a really unique thing. So thanks, Brian, as always, for sharing your work here, and it's something very different, very unique to take a look at, and just being a pretty, relatively rare kit. How did you get your hands on this kit, Brian? Was it something that you bought, or was it something that you won? I have a feeling like I I feel like I remember that this was something that you won from a contest, right? For winning the OMC, wasn't it? For winning the original mecha contest, this was the prize for that, if I remember correctly, right? That's how you got your hands on this. But anyway, it's pretty rare to see people, at least for me, I don't really often see people working on different Calamity kits just because they're pretty expensive and pretty intense, like big mecha resin kits that just not that many people work on. So it's cool to see like some actual work in progress of photos and stuff from someone working on one of them, just because it's not something I typically see very often. So yeah, if you guys are interested, Calamity's website there, if you want to check out some of the different products, if you want to spend some money and buy one of them for yourself. You bought this from Luca directly. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Didn't you win something from the OMC as well, though? Sorry, my memory is terrible. But anyway, it's cool to see. So, for the next episode, next time we have the next episode of Gunpla Critique. Let's see. Here you go. In 2017 you bought that. So the next time we have an episode, Brian, hopefully you'll submit whatever else new you're working on at the time, but also submit a couple of finished photos of that so we can check in on that next time as well, just so you can see what it looks like when it's all finished. But yeah, it looks like you're almost done, so that should be pretty cool. I don't know if you have any plans for like a custom base for that, but doing some sort of custom base would be pretty awesome as well. So looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for today's episode, guys. Thanks to Greg, Chaka, Brian for submitting those. You won the Michael Hermrock. Yeah, Rook. Yes. That was a different thing, right? You haven't started work on that, right? I don't think I've seen you start to work on that quite yet. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. So just a couple of works to look at, and so we'll have another episode probably in a couple weeks' time, later on in April. And we'll see what else there is to see. As for the upcoming live streams, let's see. Like I mentioned to you guys yesterday, the next live stream will probably be the Master Grade Rigazi Unicorn version. I'll be building up that possibly on Monday, but maybe on Tuesday. I don't know. Anyway, early next week. And a couple other things. And this one I need to start. This one we need to build as well. So probably we'll live stream build this maybe next week as well. The Megami device Shitara Kaneshiya. Okay, so anyway, that's it for me. I should today hopefully maybe also getting to pretty much get to the end of finishing my little character figure for the Master Grade Barbatos as well. Then that'll be done also. So I can, I suppose, while we're here, just give you a look. Oh, if I don't pull my light over there, phew, could have been a big crash. Give you just a little look at how the Barbatos is looking. So here's that. Came out looking pretty cool. I know you can't see it super well, but yeah, that's all done. So just the hell. I told you guys before, my lights are just like going crazy this past couple of weeks. This is broken. So I kind of like jerry-rigged something to help hold the light up, but it keeps falling down. Anyway, alright, so before I destroy anything, gonna wrap up the stream here for today. And aside from finishing the Barbatos, what I also got coming for you guys later on today, I finally got around to reviewing the Hurudu 2 part set and the Primrose part set. So a couple of Advanced Zeta part sets reviews. I finally got around to recording those yesterday, so I'm going to finish editing those and post those up for you guys. So some Advanced Zeta stuff coming out, and then another work in progress video on the Barbatos, and then the Barbatos will be done. So All right, that's what I've got coming up for the next few days. And again, thank you to Greg and Brian for being here, hanging out. And Chaka, I'm sure, would have been here, would have loved to have been here for watching this live, but he can check it out later and comment on the video, whatever he might want to add to the conversation about his build. But great builds overall, guys. Thank you so much. And thank you, the rest of you guys as well, for hanging out and watching. Also, see you guys next time. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.